I love asymmetrical horror games. There's always something so fun about them to me. I love having the brutal power to hurt as a killer and to chase and feel unstoppable, but I also love being a quiet survivor, having to help my team push through to survive. I love the variety, I love the map designs, I love the characters, I love the music. Asym horror games are probably one of my favorite genre of games. I have a lot of time sunk into them, almost 220 hours in Dead by Daylight, 58 hours in Pillar Chase 2, 10 hours in Die of Death, and 16 hours of my life accidentally spent funding one of the most disgusting human beings I've ever heard of. However, one game came out recently this year that I didn't immediately try. It was an asymmetrical Roblox horror game based around Sonic.EXE and its community. I'm a huge fan of the EXE community, if it wasn't obvious from my Sinister Minds review. Yes, I know I forgot to mention Red Glove on the 2 tracks he appeared on. I'm sorry! It's actually essentially a spiritual successor in a lot of ways to a previous Sonic.EXE asym game on Roblox, Sonic.EXE The Disaster. However, earlier this year, The Disaster got killed off by Sega due to having a donation jar in the lobby. No, I'm not kidding. I never really tried Outcome Memories or even The Disaster out, despite how popular they both got. The most I even played of Outcome Memories was goofing off on a private server with some friends for a few hours, but that was about it. Now that the game has gone under a few balance patches over the last few months, and with the next update on the horizon, which may or may not completely date this review within a matter of weeks, I decided to bunker down off my slight search in the EXE community to try and take my awful gaming skills and apply it to the Sonic.exe community's most ambitious project. Here's my review of version 0.1 of Sonic.exe Outcome Memories. The general gameplay of Outcome Memories is both nothing new to Roblox asym games, but very different if you've only played Dead by Daylight. Each round starts with one killer or executioner, and anywhere from up to 2 up to maximum of 7 survivors. Each new survivor adds a minute to the in-game clock to make it fair for the executioner. The executioner's role is simple: find, chase, and kill all the survivors before the time runs out. Each kill adds 10 seconds to the in-game timer. Once the timer hits 80 seconds, a green exit ring will appear somewhere on the map, and the survivors that are still alive have to now race to the exit ring to win the game. When a survivor loses enough health the first time, they are downed and must be ran over to by another teammate and revived. If they are downed again, then they die and are out of the game. There's only 3 results that end up happening in a round: escaped, meaning the survivor left the exit ring; dead, meaning the executioner killed them; and finally left, which either happens when the time runs out and the survivor doesn't make it to the exit ring in time, or they disconnect. In between each round, there's a simple lobby you can walk around with a board saying who has the highest chance of being the EXE in the next round, and a settings menu which includes being able to turn off EXE chance, which almost everyone does, so get ready to only play a scary Sonic buddy. There's also a shop where you can buy outfits and emotes for the characters. I really like this system of cosmetics, as you can freely mismatch everything to your content and make pretty much whatever you want. It's really fun. My only real complaint with the shop is that it doesn't show you how long you have until the next round begins, and if you're in the shop when the round does start, it marks you as AFK and you have to sit out of the round. So if you want to buy something cool but play the next round, you gotta speedrun your way through the menus and hope the shopkeeper doesn't say an extra long piece of goodbye dialogue. Now, the general feel of how the gameplay is balanced is another big difference with most asymmetrical horror games, and it's honestly a fresh take I really enjoy. Instead of the killer being the power role who can shrug off stuns in less than a second, here you get hit and you're stunned for a while, up to 5 seconds, which, yeah, okay, that's a little too long. The game is essentially balanced like a mix of a 3D platform fighting game and a Juggernaut game. The survivor's role is to stun, attack, and prevent the killer from killing off the team. However, the EXE does not have health like the survivors, and as such, can only be delayed, not stopped. Plus, he still does a high amount of damage per hit. 2011X, the only executioner in the game, does 42 damage per hit, 50 in rage mode, meaning that he can down survivors in 2 to 3 hits. It's essentially a fighting game where a team of 7 weak fighters have to take down one overpowered fighter. It's a unique approach to an asym game, and one I really enjoy. So far, based off just gameplay and presentation, I really like Outcome Memories. But you know how I said that everyone disables EXE chants? Yeah, well, let's talk about the one, the only, Sonic.EXE.
Gotcha, Knuckles! Hello, Sonic. Hello, Sonic.
2011X is an executioner I'm extremely mixed on. He's the beginning EXE, and as such is a jack-of-all-trades master of none character. He can go invisible for stealth and faster movement, but characters can highlight you through walls, then it's useless. Plus, when you leave the invisibility, you pop out and say a loud voice line while posing for a second. Your best move, Charge, allows you to fly around the map, but it makes a loud noise, and when you grab a survivor, sure, you choke them and do 2 damage a second, but you're extremely susceptible to stuns, and if you position wrong, it means you basically wasted a full charge. God's Trickery is a confusion and teleport move, hitting 4 survivors with 3 of them only having their controls inverted and 1 getting attacked and teleported to by 2011X. Sounds good until you realize that most survivors can jump to avoid the hit, making it very difficult to use for damage. Finally, you have Rage Mode. Throughout the match, on the left of your screen, you have a Rage meter, and each time you get stunned, it fills up. Once it's filled, you can activate Rage Mode, which pauses the round timer and disables exit rings, allowing 2011X to recover from stuns faster, do more damage with his M1, and move faster. However, the nerfs you get are absolutely insane. Your M1 goes from a 1 second cooldown to 2.5 seconds. God's Trickery is completely disabled, and invisibility now just highlights all survivors, can't be forced out of, and makes it so you can't run while using it. I understand why the nerfs are in place, but like, I feel the M1 cooldown should at most be 1.5 seconds? No? I can understand God's Trickery being disabled due to you just having an ability that gives you wall hacks. Overall, while 2011X can get the job done, honestly, as he stands right now, he is very weak. Because he doesn't excel at any one thing, you really have to be good at the one thing you can do, whether that be targeting or being punching practice. Which leads us to the next issue, stun duration. Stuns in this game can stack, essentially, so you could be shot from a distance by Tails' laser cannon, then punched by Knuckles, then drop dashed by Sonic, then hit with Amy's hammer, and then finally get pinned against a wall and stunned for an eternity by Metal Sonic. Now, the odds of that happening in-game, rather low, but still, it can make it so that in some situations, you just can't do anything. Your best bet, honestly, is to tunnel characters like Cream due to her not having any offensive capabilities and being the team healer, or Sonic, as he will end up cucking you 9 times out of 10 from kills you 100% earned. The only characters I consistently had an easy time with when playing 2011X is Knuckles if you can bait out his counter and punch, and then Metal Sonic as his charge deals damage to himself and he only has 1 life. However, 2011X's big weakness is map selection. Maps like X's Castle or Green Hill, rather open and not too labyrinthy, great. Maps like You Can't Run, on the other hand, make me want to run away. I get it, like the 2011X song on Instrument, Run Away, get it, why aren't you laughing? The only other issue with 2011X is the fact that no one will ever turn on their EXE transfer rounds, meaning I have a lot, and I mean a lot of footage of me playing a 2011X, but barely any of the survivors. My first 30 minutes ever playing this game, and out of the 5 rounds I played, 4 of them had me play as EXE all back to back. So even if I did enjoy this character, it would get a little bit tiring only playing him and nothing but him. Speaking of survivors though, let's talk about them.
Hi, Sonic. Everyone I play against chooses Sonic, and he kicks my ass.
The survivors are honestly what make or break rounds in this game. They all feel like rather decent or even faithful movesets based off of the character they're supposed to be, and they all fill a specific role and rather well. None of them feel specifically really weak. Sure, some maps counter them and team coordination is god in this game, but solo survivors can do well on their own if they play their cards right. Sonic is a hit and run character. His only 2 moves are drop dash, a spin dash which stuns the executioner, and peel out, which allows him to zoom through the map and if he runs into another survivor, carry them with him to safety. Also, if he uses peel out and runs over a down survivor, he instantly revives them and carries them with him. Sonic's whole goal is to distract and be annoying, which good Sonic players are, get this, obnoxious as fuck to play against. Sonic has essentially a shield that allows him to tank 50 damage before really getting hurt. He can refuel this at any time by using drop dash and hitting you. Do you see how bad this is already? Every time you try to attack a character, boom, fast stun. Every time you down a character, boom, instant revive, and they're gone. Every time you chase Sonic, boom, 50 damage shield that allows him to dodge long enough to get to a teammate who will stun you. His only true weakness is last man standing, where not only does he have the longest timer due to having the longest last man standing song, but he also takes 15% more damage due to his guilt mechanic. So you're supposed to ignore Sonic and let him harass you just to then curb stomp him in the finale. It's an interesting design philosophy, and trust me, I feel like I'm really fighting against classic Sonic here, but he is always one of the worst survivors to deal with, which sucks because everyone always picks him. I only got to play as Sonic in one single round because either I was EXE or someone sniped him immediately from me. Tails is probably one of the most map-dependent survivors in the entire game, in my opinion. He's a long-range stunner, and that's really it. Down long-range corridors or in open spaces, his arm cannon can stun the Executioner from a long range effortlessly. He can fly using his tails to get a better advantage, but this is what makes him map-dependent. On maps like Not Perfect or You Can't Run, he can effortlessly reach high areas 2011X can only access by using a spring or God's Trickery. But on Green Hill, he doesn't really have anywhere high to stand, making him always out in the open. Plus, his laser attack is not a quick thing. It takes up to 5 seconds to charge before firing, meaning you have to be away or not actively targeted to get use out of it. I played as him once or twice, and he's an alright survivor, but nothing really crazy unless he can hide with a good team to support him. Knuckles is another character I only played once, but he's probably the most straightforward survivor in the game. He's a close-range stunner. An Executioner gets close, punch them. 2011X uses charge to attack a teammate, charge or punch to stun him for longer. An Executioner gets close and your punch is on cooldown, use counter when he swings. It's really simple but executed rather well and fairly. I didn't get to use it myself, but Knuckles can also jump on walls, and if he can jump off high enough, he can glide through the air, giving him a little bit of the same map dependency as Tails, but he has skills that allow it to not matter as much to him. Knuckles is honestly a perfectly balanced survivor, fun for both sides. Amy is the true wild card and jack of all trades, master of none character for the survivors. She's probably my favorite survivor to play as and can fit any role necessary. See, she has 3 abilities. Hammer, which allows her to attack and stun the Executioner with her hammer, acting as a simpler version of Knuckles' punch ability. Hammer Throw, which is a medium range stun, but upon using removes access to her hammer for 8 seconds or until she picks it back up, adding some risk. And finally, her third ability. Fucking gambling! Yeah, so Amy's passive is the tarot cards, of which there are 6. At the beginning of the round, she gets 2 draws already, and you can use her final ability, reroll, to shuffle which card she has. The World is probably my favorite card of hers, allowing her to see all survivors and the Executioner at the cost of moving slower. The Fool makes Amy faster, but decreases her stun by 1 second. Strength makes Amy stun the Executioner for an additional 2 seconds, but take more damage and move slower. The Emperor is probably her best card, but also the rarest, giving her only small buffs with no downside, those being damage resistance and ever so slightly faster move speed. The Sun makes it so she heals survivors around him at a rate of 1 HP every 2 seconds, at the downside of slowly blinding them the longer they stay close to her. Finally, the Moon is her worst card, making it way harder to see in a randomized chance of either getting a buff or nerf to her movement speed and damage resistance. I would say her best combo is definitely the World and the Emperor. Being able to see where everyone is in a game like this is insanely powerful, and Emperor not only makes you slightly tankier, but also makes you your speed penalty from the World less severe. Overall, I really like Amy. While she may be a simple survivor on the surface, she has a lot of depth in decision making that always makes you question what your best course of action really is. Cream is the standard healing character on the whole roster. She begins around with her pet Chow, Cheese, and while he's alive, Cream's heal will do 10 HP per tick to any survivors around her for 7 seconds. However, once she gets dropped below 30 HP for the first time, Cheese dies for the rest of the match, lowering her HP output to only 5 HP per tick. The main challenge with Cream is to just hide and avoid being targeted. You have no way to fight back. Sure, you have a dash that launches the Executioner back, but it doesn't stun, and when you hit them, it does 2 HP of damage to yourself. A good Cream lives and dies based off how well her teammates can protect her and drag the EXE away while she heals the rest of them up. I only got to play Cream once, and she was fine. Most of your game is sitting around and running away preemptively, always wanting to stay by someone's side. It's a very important role in the grand scheme of the team composition, but not one I'm looking to particularly choose. My GOAT Metal Sonic is up next, and he is basically the sacrificial lamb of the survivors. He has only 1 life, but more HP. He has a self-heal, but he cannot be healed by other survivors, and his self-heal is only efficient when boosted by nearby Tails or Eggman. No, Metal's game game gameplay is to throw himself out there and to beat the hell out of the Executioner, even when he knows he isn't going to walk away from it. His main attack, Destructive Charge, not only stuns the EXE for the longest time out of all the stuns, 5 seconds, but also, as the trade-off, does damage to Metal Sonic. However, you can just use it and pick up the Executioner and drag him away, which is pretty funny. Also, 2011X's charge attack is worse on you, because instead of doing 2 damage a second and choking you, he stomps your head into the floor and does 1 damage a second. However, it does ramp up the longer the attack goes on uninterrupted. The biggest benefit Metal Sonic has, though, is the fact that when you die, you self-destruct and explode, stunning the EXE for 5 full seconds. Pair this up with a passive 50% damage resistance, and Metal Sonic is built to take punishment and dish it back out, although not necessarily survive doing so. I sadly only got to play as him once or twice when recording the footage, but he was really fun when I played him, and is probably tied with Amy for my favorite survivor to play. So, do you not like contributing to your team at all? Dr. Eggman is last up, and if all you want to do is hit nothing but the sandwalk in a corner of a map, then Eggman is your go-to guy. His abilities are a shield similar to Knuckles' counter and jetpack boost, which allows him to run away super fast. He has a natural double jump and can heal Metal Sonic faster when he's self-repairing, but that's about it. Eggman is pretty okay, but I only played him once and didn't find him that remarkable when I did. Now, honestly, one thing that does also affect balancing is map design. Some maps are better for survivors and executioners, as expected. However, some maps also have unique events when the time hits less than 80 seconds. Each map is well designed, and I can't say, except for one, I hate any of them. Green Hill is probably the most basic map in the whole game. It's a giant open field, great for characters like Sonic and Metal Sonic. However, due to the lack of verticality, Tails, Knuckles, Cream, and even Eggman tend to suffer a bit here. When the round timer hits 80 seconds, lightning begins to strike the map, lighting survivors on fire and doing damage over time, and stunning the Executioner for 2 seconds. Overall, a fine map. Hill.Gym, or otherwise referred to as X's Castle, is probably my favorite map in the game. It's an indoor castle with long corridors and open rooms, although it isn't very labyrinth-like, which makes it easier to navigate than the other indoor map. This map also doesn't have a gimmick tied to the timer. Instead, its gimmick is overtime, basically granting an additional 17 seconds on the timer after it hits 0. These only ever came into play one single time, and it was because I accidentally glitched a Tails into the wall using my charge attack. You can't run. You can't run, honestly, should be removed from the game. I've had 0 good games on this map. The map layout is a labyrinth, basically, with one giant center room that is vertically imposing, meaning that Tails, Knuckles, and Cream all get insane buffs. Especially Tails, who can snipe you with his laser cannon basically anywhere. Sonic can pop down from anywhere and attack you before you can secure a kill. There are way too many corners, so you're always out in the open. And worst of all, the map is dark as shit, making it near impossible to see. And when you do hit someone, then you get a blood splatter effect on your screen, making it even harder to see. I fucking hate this map so much, I will not be sad to see it reworked or removed. Not Perfect is the final map currently in the game, and it's a mixed bag. This is easily the best map for Tails, Cream, and Eggman, but some characters like Sonic and Metal Sonic get hard countered here. It's basically just a wide open, you can't run, but hard counters some of the more obnoxious characters, plus allows you to actually see. I really like the ambience for this map, probably my favorite out of all the maps in the game so far. Not Perfect is not better than Green Hill or X's Castle, but it's leagues better than the current You Can't Run. Overall, the maps are well designed and put together, hard buffing or nerfing the characters depending on what map the round chooses, and I think it's a decent way to balance a game like this. One of the last things I would be remiss to ignore is the massive amount of love this game's soundtrack gets. The OST for this game goes insanely hard, especially the Last Man Standing themes. The only one I heard in-game is Sonic's current song, Don't Blink, which features vocals from Johnny Gioli, the lead singer for Crush 40. You know, the fucking live and learn Crush 40? They got basically the official Sonic band to sing a song for a Roblox fan game, and it goes as hard as you think it does. Other Last Man Standing things are pretty solid too, and like I said on Not Perfect, the ambience for some of the levels can be pretty good as well. The game's strong suit is definitely sound direction. Even if you hate the balancing or type of gameplay, the pure love and effort put into just the soundtrack, voice lines and sound effects alone make this game feel alive. This game has so much effort put into it already. My only critique is that there isn't much content yet, but it is only in version 0.1. Future updates, including 0.2, which could drop anytime after this video comes out and immediately invalidate everything I say, are going to be coming with so much more content. In that update alone, we're getting Silver and Blaze as new survivors and Colossus and Tripwire as new executioners. Colossus is a tribute to the disaster being based off an original EXE from that game, and Tripwire is basically a retake of the Tails doll myth. Plus, even if you don't want to wait, hop on a private server and play with the goofy private server exclusive characters like Baldi, V1 from Ultra Kill, Frisk and Kara from Undertale, and even my absolute GOAT Neo Metal Sonic. I know I said Metal Sonic was my GOAT, but come on, it's Neo Metal. But even then, give the game more time and more characters to come out, like Fleetway Supersonic and Shadow, and 2 executions I'm personally excited for, Rewrite and End from Green Mountain. Rewrite is probably my favorite modern EXE character, and End is basically the Sonic community's version of Coronation Day from the Mario community, so of course I think he's cool as hell. The game has enough content planned, and it's only an alpha, and I'm really excited to see where the game goes from here, because I think by the time this game enters version 1.0, it could potentially be the best Roblox ASIN game on the entire platform. It still has some kinks to iron out, but I trust the team that they can push through and deliver a solid product. And thus concludes my review of Outcome Memories. It's a great asymmetrical horror game, and I had a blast playing it. But tell me in the comments, what do you think of Outcome Memories? Did I get an opinion objectively wrong? Let me know down in the comments below, and also check out the description to find a link to the game if you want to play it yourself, and also my Ko-Fi page if you wish to support my work here on YouTube before I can get monetization. And of course, as always, thank you all so much for watching this video. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe, hit the notification bell, and even share the video if you like that much. As always, I'll see you all in the next video. Bye, guys!
Here's how I'll torture you, Alan. Number 1, the marrow furnace. I'll inject liquid metal into your bones, boiling them from the inside. Number 2, the nerve harvester. Each nerve fiber will be plucked and strung, vibrating with agony. Number 3, the organ grinder. Your organs will be twisted and cranked, a grotesque puppet of pain. Number 4, the skin weaver. Your skin will be peeled and rewoven, a living tapestry of torment. Number 5, the eyeball crucible. Your eyes will be roasted and replaced with burning coals. Number 6, the mind flare. Your thoughts will be shredded echoes of endless torment. I am God.